route avoids road closures on Pioneer Street. You are on the fastest route. You will arrive at 11 a.m.
It's interesting because, of course, we have a lot of newly elected individuals that are being sworn in. And so that means a lot of individuals who held elective office are leaving. And one of those would be Oregon Secretary of State LaVon Griffin-Ballard. Now, keep in mind, she was appointed, and we now have a new Secretary of State here in Oregon, Tobias Reed, the former state treasurer. But Oregon State Secretary of State LaVon Griffin-Ballard, on her final day in office, did something pretty interesting. Her audits division referred the results of an investigation into Governor Tina Kotek's office, and they referred the results to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. So this was after tips came in of Oregon taxpayer dollars being misused. And in Oregon, we have this thing called the State Government Accountability Hotline, where whistleblowers or people that just think that their tax money is being wasted can call in. So a number were called in about this governor's office. And I have to say, LaVon Griffin-Ballard did the right thing in having her auditors take a look at it. So what did she find that the governor ostensibly or allegedly did wrong? Well, Governor Kotek, according to the audit, extended paid parking benefits to her spouse and another official as well. Keep in mind, her spouse is not a state worker. Also, Governor Kotek's office paid for an event with no state purpose and for entertainment. And the governor's office paid $6,000 for a barbecue party that had no state purpose. All right, taking a look at some really unnerving things from a couple of Oregon school districts. In the Salem-Keizer Public School District, they paid Joshua Rist, a music teacher, accused of grooming and abusing two students, $30,000 if he would quit. The district also agreed to remove from its website and social media a video message from Superintendent Andrea Castaneda to the community, in which she states in that video, "I do not believe Mr. Rist should be allowed to serve students in the Salem-Keizer School District or anywhere else." Keep in mind, the school district also paid $400,000 to settle a lawsuit alleging that Rist, a former McNary High School choir teacher, groomed and sexually abused a pair of students between 2015 and 2020. And by the way, his Oregon teaching license remains active. Now we're going to take a look at a story and follow up on one that we reported here several months ago. And it has to do with the small college town of St. Helens, Oregon, which is up in the Columbia River Gorge. And the nastiness in the school district there just continues to get, well, shall we say, ickier. Now, St. Helens police arrested St. Helens High School choir teacher, why is it choir teachers, Eric Stearns, for a second time on additional sex abuse charges after 8 additional victims, students, came forward with allegations. Now, Stearns was first, as we told you, arrested back on November 12th after an initial investigation resulted in his indictment on 7 counts of second-degree sexual abuse and 1 count of third-degree sexual abuse. Now, according to the St. Helens Police Department, 8 additional victims, 8, came forward after his initial arrest, and Stearns was arrested again on January 4th and lodged in the Columbia County Jail. He now additionally faces 1 count of first-degree sex abuse, 6 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, and 4 counts of third-degree sexual abuse. And then we have 2 other current or former school employees who also have been charged with crimes. That would be retired math teacher Mark Collins, who also faces allegations of sexual abuse against students, and St. Helens High School principal Katie Wagner on mistreatment and misconduct charges. Now, in Wagner's case, well, it looks like, allegedly, she was covering all this up. Because according to the St. Helens Police Department, these allegations go back to 2019, and they found the allegations after finally one of the victims went to the St. Helens Police Department. They did the investigation and found, my gosh, this has been going on for 5 years. Collins, by the way, that would be retired teacher Mark Collins, was arrested November 12th. Wagner, the principal, was arrested November 26th. Now, what's interesting is that it appears, and what the public believes is likely true, that a cover-up was going on in the St. Helens School District to try and protect the teachers, which makes it somewhat darkly ironic that the St. Helens School District posted a statement on its website after the new arrest stating they are deeply saddened by the news. Yeah, because they got caught. And there's likely a number of similar cases doesn't know why. Good answer. Cylindrical wooden block. Cooking spray. Can of deodorant. This one's pretty good. The report reads, patient complains of ankle, abdominal, and neck pain after jumping off a second floor balcony. He also reported a foreign body in his rectum. Sounds like that was an interesting evening. Also, removed a broomstick. This one, a bag of soil. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never been sitting around the house looking at some of my wife's potting soil and saying, hey, that could be going places. Another report, patient shoved a bag containing 20 hydroxyzine pills into his rectum for street cred. I don't want to know this person's friends. Also, another person lost a pen. According to the medical report, the patient tried to remove poop with the pen a few days ago and lost it. Another person had a 50-cent piece removed. Then we have a scrub brush. Another one, patient states he tripped in the shower and fell backwards and landed on a shampoo bottle which became lodged. Another patient states they slipped and fell in the bathtub, landing on a baby shark toy. Another patient reported took clonazepam, a dose 3 times instead of once, and now says they have a battery in the rectum and nausea. Another, a plastic lemon, a jello mold, and finally, my fave, was roughhousing with her husband who lifted her up and accidentally dropped her on a hot dog cooker. Guess where it had to be removed from. All right. Well, Rick, are you proud now that you're a sponsor of the news? And with that, we wish you a happy new year. And now it's time for Rick to get real.
the denials, and the self-serving narratives. It will remember the survivors who stood up, spoke out, and demanded accountability, even when it was inconvenient, even when it was uncomfortable, and even when the people we were fighting against were those who claimed to be on our side. The truth is out there now, and it cannot be ignored. The question is, who will have the courage to confront it? Who will stand with the survivors and demand justice? And who will continue to hide behind the facade of advocacy, hoping the truth stays buried? We are watching. The world is watching. And as the victims of systematic criminal acts perpetrated on us as minors, we will not be silenced to uphold anyone's delusion of grandeur that stand in the way of truth. Y'all seem intent at having either ignored or buried. No more kids in Scientology. They cannot consent whatsoever. How stupid can anyone actually be? Hashtag no more kids in Scientology. Again, this is written by George Delmar. Go ahead and check out the Substack thought.
Buddy, what is the origin story? Tell me the whole piece.
I mean,
hold on.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Return to classical elegance here. I don't know, how did they, back in the day when they wore hats to take the train, how did they not adjust their balls 50 times a day? Was the ball adjusting was a document? I've never seen on an old TV show a guy reaches in his pants to adjust his balls. Or sitting.
Follow Elon Musk when he tells you you're going to take you to Mars. I'll tell you how. He and I share something deeply. We love the American dream. And we have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty because we just inaugurated Donald J. Trump as our 47th president. And we just inaugurated J.D. Vance as our Vice President of the United States.